so now let's talk about the party elders, what they're busy with. They're reportedly busy deciding who the next leader should be. They've been looking everywhere for someone capable of cleaning up the mess Xi Jinping has left behind, domestically and internationally. Some believe that Hu Chunhua, once considered the crown prince, is still too inexperienced to take the helm. If you look at Hu Chunhua's resume, he has served on the Politburo and as a vice premier, and he has extensive provincial leadership experiences. But he's never made it into the Politburo Standing Committee, the top seven who run the party. So their attention has reportedly shifted to another reform-minded figure, Wang Yang. At 70, one is 2 years younger than Xi Jinping, and he and Li Keqiang both retired at the 20th Party Congress in 2022. Before that, he was one of the seven members of the Politburo Standing Committee during the 19th Party Congress, where he oversaw the CPPCC, which stands for the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference. He also served as a vice premier under Li Keqiang. Now, let's be clear. This is all rumor coming out of Beijing. None of it can be confirmed. But I think it's important enough to share with you because I do think it carries some weight. So here's what people are saying. When the party elders approached Wang Yang about taking over, he reportedly made three demands. He said he would step in, but only if they agreed to certain conditions. So, what are these conditions? Before I get into that, let me give you a little bit background on Wang Yang. Okay, so Wang Yang is often viewed as part of the liberal camp within the CCP, and he advocated for free markets and political openness. He's obviously associated with the Communist Youth League faction, aka the Hu Jintao faction. He came from a very poor family. His father died when he was very young. So his mother raised him and his two siblings alone. So to help his mother financially, he started working at a food factory before even graduating from high school. He was only 17. And I think in his early 20s, he married the daughter of a local official. I think he was a low-ranking official. But Wang is obviously very talented, and he worked his way up during the 1980s, which was probably the most liberal and open time period under the CCP. And in 1988, he became the mayor of Tongling in Anhui. Now, his political turning point came after the 1989 Tiananmen Square massacre. So after that, China's reform and opening up process came to a halt. And in 1991, Wang Yang, then still mayor of Tongling, took a political gamble by initiating a major public discussion. He published a pro-reform article titled "Wake Up, Tongling" in the local newspaper, and calling for continuation of reform. However, People's Daily responded with a very supportive editorial titled "Wake Up, Not Just Tongling," and this brought Wang Yang to national attention. So in early 1992, as Deng Xiaoping passed through Anhui province on his return trip on his southern China tour, he met with local leaders and specifically asked to meet Wang Yang, praising him as talented. So Wang was then placed on the Central Organization Department's list of future leadership candidates. From there, his career took off. So in 1993, at age 38, he was appointed vice governor of Anhui province, making him the youngest vice governor in China at the time. And while overseeing finance and taxation in Anhui, he pushed for major reforms, so much so that then Premier Zhu Rongji praised him as someone who was young but daring. So thanks to his strong performance in Anhui, he was transferred to the central government in September 1999 under Zhu Rongji. He became the deputy director of the former State Department Planning Commission. And in March 2003, after Wen Jiabao became premier, Wang was appointed Secretary General of the State Council, managing the daily operations of the State Council's general office. And in 2005, he became the party secretary of Chongqing. While in Chongqing, he pushed forward media reform. The city issued a directive limiting newspaper space, word counts, and airtime allocated for coverage of top municipal leaders. And then during a high profile housing demolition standoff, a disgruntled homeowner who refused to cave in or to move, climbed to the rooftop demanding, I want to see Wang Yang. So that shout by the disgruntled homeowner put Wang at the center of public attention. Rather than ordering immediate blackout, he instructed the leaders to negotiate with him, with the homeowner. So the dispute was resolved with a settlement, earning him praises from the public. So after Chongqing, he became the party secretary of Guangdong. And during this time, he faced it was right before the financial crisis of the 2008. So he insisted that the government should not rescue companies with backward productivities. So he called for Guangdong to seize the opportunity to accelerate industrial upgrading. And he also instituted major reforms. And in 2009, Shenzhen became the first city in China to implement large-scale government restructuring, reducing its departments from 46 to 31, far below the central government's limit of 40 departments for large cities. And then there's another district in Shenzhen that took it even further, cutting two-thirds of its department from 41 to 16. Building on this, he proposed a shift from an all-powerful government to a limited government. So he stepped down as the party secretary of Guangdong at the end of 2012, and he was succeeded by Hu Chunhua. And then his next job was, vice premier in the state council under Xi Jinping. Under Li Keqiang, who was under Xi Jinping. But honestly speaking, he and Li Keqiang didn't do much under Xi Jinping. When it comes to Sino-U.S. relations, he made a famous analogy in 2013 while attending the U.S. China strategic and economic dialogue. He likened U.S. China relations to a married couple, saying that the two countries shouldn't choose divorce. It would be too expensive, like Wendy Dunn and Rupert Murdoch. Compared to Xi Jinping, people say that Wang Yang is more pragmatic, hands-on, and often open to feedback and suggestions. Here's the highlight of tonight. So when party elders approached him about becoming the next CCP leader, he reportedly made three key demands. Number one, control of the military. He insisted that he must become the chairman of the Central Military Commission, in addition to serving as party leader. Without control of the military, being party secretary is meaningless. History proves this. The two party secretaries who were removed while in office, Wu Yaobang and Zhao Ziyang, were both ousted by Deng Xiaoping, who held military power at the time. So his demand number one is clear. He wants to control the military. And his second command is a full reset of China's foreign policy. One sees foreign relations as China's most urgent challenge. He wants to completely overhaul the foreign ministry and diplomatic corps. The wolf warriors or the wolf warrior diplomats must go and replaced by pro-West professional diplomats. And that's his demand number two. And demand number three is an end to internal bloodletting or bloodshedding, I should say. And for the senior leaders in the party, past or present, to reach a truce. So his third demand is unprecedented, right? He wants the party's top leaders and rival factions to stop fighting and reconcile. And he's calling for a truce to put an end to the infighting and mutual destruction that has plagued the CCP since its founding. So this is radical because the CCP has never reconciled its internal struggles. Under Mao, scores of leaders were purged or even killed. Deng Xiaoping was not any better. He had Mao's widow and the gang of four arrested. He then removed Hua Guofeng, Mao's chosen successor. He got rid of him to seize power. He later forced out two of his own general secretaries. Wu Yaobang and Zhao Ziyang, who died miserably, and Zhao Ziyang was under house arrest for the rest of his life. So, and then when Jiang Zemin took over, Deng Xiaoping didn't trust him either and appointed Hu Jintao as Jiang's successor, just to check Jiang's power. And then Jiang Zemin and Hu Jintao fought a decade-long war, and Hu Jintao faced 2 assassination attempts and survived. Then came Xi Jinping, who fought both Jiang Zemin and Hu Jintao's camps, imprisoning many of their loyalists, and the factional war ultimately culminated in the sudden death of former Premier Li Keqiang. So Wang Yang wants to stop this endless cycle. Although personally, I believe that unless the CCP itself is dismantled, the killing and the purging will never stop because it's just in the regime's DNA. But anyway, Wang Yang has made it clear if these 3 conditions are not met, he's not interested in taking over or cleaning up Xi Jinping's mess. He says he's old and would rather enjoy retirement. So, will the party elders agree to his terms? We'll see. But in my view, the only way CCP leaders would ever stop fighting is if the regime ends and a new system begins. Otherwise, reconciliation is impossible. Just take Li Keqiang's family, for example. Well, think about it. They will likely demand a full investigation into his death before they ever consider making peace with Xi Jinping or whoever is responsible. So, under the current system, a truce is wishful thinking.